Hi everybody, it's Andrea over at Sewspire.com. Welcome back. Today I am going to show you how to make this very sweet little pouch set, which these little two pouches are connected and there's a little tab in the middle. So you could hang that up. I haven't come up with an official name yet, but for some reason like saddle bags are just coming to mind here. So hopefully between now and the time I upload this, I've come up with a better description for this cute piece. It is just an original design. Kind of came to me. I have all this really wonderful fabric remnants that I spent the weekend sorting, and I know I need to start using up this collection because it doesn't do any good to have it just sitting here in the studio. So I want to start making a lot of really fun, useful, functional projects from that. So today I'm going to show you how to make this, and it just uses up scraps, but it is nice to have a heavyweight fabric like this premier print. So I have a question to ask you. I do have like way more fabric than I could possibly use, and they're great little cuts like this. You know, if you were to go on fabric.com or directly to Premier Prints and order this, you'd have to spend anywhere from $8 to $12 a yard, and you'd have to order 2 full yards just to make something comparable. But I already have these little bits, and I'd be willing to even pre-cut it for you. If you let me know that there's an interest, I could put together kits pre-cut for like this very project. We could start with this one and include the hardware and everything, which is also great because if you buy a package of snaps that's $5, $6, $7, this project quickly gets expensive. So I'm thinking like I could put together a little kit for you, and for this very project, say for like between $5 and $6 shipped to you, and this way you would be able to make it with these fun, great prints, but not have it be very, cost prohibitive. So it's just something that I thought about that I could do as a means to offset the cost of running the blog, because I don't really, I don't charge anyone for the videos, but there certainly are costs associated with hosting the website and the equipment, and I spend a lot of time editing the videos. But if you're not interested, just say no way, but it would be a good value for you too. So if that's something you would like me to look into and see if we can start doing this, or even maybe if I just package bundles of the fabric and sell it like that, that'd be cool. If not, I totally understand. I'm still going to keep making the videos, so I enjoy it. So shall we get started? Thank you. Okay, for this project you're going to need 4 pieces of fabric that measure 6 inches wide by 11 inches long, and those are going to become the body pieces for the little pouches. And then you're going to need 4 pieces which measure 4.5 inches across by 4 inches tall, and those are going to become the flap closures. And then you're going to need 1 piece of fabric that measures 3 inches wide by 6 inches long, and that's going to become the little handle at the top there, as well as 2 sets of snaps, which the ones that I use look like this. And so they have 2 prongs. One of them has a little decorative head, and then the little nipple, and then the little hole there that fits into. And I use a small hammer to install that in a little cutting board, and I will be showing you how to install the snaps. So to begin, we're going to create our flap closure, and you're going to do this process twice. I've already pre-made one of the little flaps, or bags, saddles I'll call them, and that's what this is going to look like. So this one's pre-made, but you will have twice as many pieces when you're starting out. So position the 2 pieces for the flap right sides together, and then we're just going to fold that in half and gently angle the corners And you can discard those little corner pieces. Then I'm going to stitch these right sides together, leaving the top open so I can flip it. And this is just using 2/8 of an inch seam allowance. That was a little closer on the top, so I'm going to come back across that. Okay, I've stitched all the way around the 3 sides and the little angle corners. Going to turn that right side out. Poke out the corners. You could press this if you like, but this Premier Prints fabric is nice. It doesn't wrinkle very easily, so I don't need to press that. Then I'm going to set the little flap aside, and I want to create the top tabby strap. So you fold that piece in half, press that, open it up, and fold the outer edges inward, press that, and then fold the finished edges over to create the strap, which you're just going to stitch down that open end and close it up. We can set that aside. And then to create the interior and the exterior of the body panels, you're going to fold this in half and then fold that in half again and notch out a 1-inch square from that raw edges at the bottom right hand corner. Okay, so you're going to get rid of those, and when you open this back up, it's going to look like that. You're going to repeat the same thing to the other side, the interior, the other panel. So you fold it in half, and then you fold that over, and you're going to notch out that 1 inch on that bottom right hand corner. This reminds me of making snowflakes when I was a kid, and if you cut it in the wrong spot, you said, uh-oh, but I did that in the right corner. So now fold those back in half and stitch down both sides. Same thing, 2/8 of an inch seam allowance. Then you just reach in and align the bottom across like that so that it's as even as you can make it. It doesn't have to be perfect though, but and then you're going to stitch right across there to create that bottom gusset. Do the other thing for the other corner. Right, and now this is the interior and it's done. I'm just going to turn it right side out so you can see how nice those corners came together. But since it's the interior, I want it wrong sides out, and then I just want to fold over that edge about 1/2 inch. I'm going to let that sit over here with the other 3 pieces while I finish the exterior. the same way, just stitch up the sides and then fashion that base. And that corner is a little close, so I'm going to go back over one more time. Looks good. And then this is the exterior, so I want to turn that right side out. Poke out the corners. I love this polka dot fabric. It's like a deep indigo, and it just makes me so happy. Okay, now take this top edge and fold it inward about a 1/2 inch. Just kind of press that down, and you're going to fit the interior inside of this, lining up those side seams. And I just put a pin at each side seam so I can make sure that stays aligned. And then I'll put one pin in the center front and the center back. And then I can reach in and fit those corners together. It's super cute. And I want to now install the snap. So I want to install the snap right at the center bottom of this flap. So I'm going to take my decorative top there and position that right at the center point, just a smidgen, about a 1/4 inch from the bottom. And I turn that over and I just poke out those prongs, and then using a little cutting board, I position the part with the hole right on top of that, and you want to make sure it's sitting there nice and firm, and then you give it a couple good whacks. And I'm going to do that on my lap so that I don't damage my sewing machine with the vibrations or anything. Okay, so I just whack that with a hammer, then you put in this little nipple part, and you would want to test fit the flap like that and just kind of eyeball it. And it's going to be approximately 1 inch down from the top of this little body piece. And I like to install the back of the snap in between the 2 layers in case I put something inside of here that I didn't want scratched by the hardware. So I'm positioning that about 1 inch down from the top lip right at the center point, and those prongs are coming up, and then I'm gonna do the same thing and just let this rest right in the grooves of the snap, and you'll know it's in there good because when you press on it, there's not going to be a lot of wiggliness or give. You're going to feel that it's secure. And then same thing, couple whacks. And I always like to just test it, and it looks really good. Now you flip that over, take out that center pin. You might have to take out the side pin as well, and tuck in the back raw edge of that flap in between the 2 layers. And I don't need that much of the flap tucked in the back, just enough that when I stitch around it's going to catch it, because I want to take advantage of the depth of this. So I think the easiest way to do it is going to be to unsnap it and then tuck that in, and it's not going in very much, maybe a 1/4 inch, a smidgen more than a 1/4 inch. I just want to make sure it's nice and even and centered, and then I'm going to feel both sides with my fingers to make sure I've captured all that and put a pin in there. You should be able to feel that top edge so that when you stitch it, it's going to be pretty even. So I'm adding just a few more pins so that it doesn't slip around, and you can see how that looks. I'm going to put the pin back in the front, and then I could just do a test fit just to make sure before I close it up, and that's going to be super cute. So now I want to take this over the machine deck, and this is very narrow, so it's probably not going to fit on this even if you remove the arm of the machine. So I'm just going to lay it on top and then carefully finagle the fabric and move around to stitch all these layers in place. And I'm going to start at the flap since I don't want that to shift. I just make sure I'm sewing through just the flap and the exterior and the interior. Adjust as you get around. Captured the layers perfectly, so that's great news. I just want to trim those extra threads. Alright, fun. So it snaps nice and tidy. This is just so cute. Alright, now remember I've already made the second little pouch or saddle. It just reminds me of a saddle bag, so I think that's what I might call it. So I want to unsnap these because I'm going to attach the two together to create a really unique piece. So I'm just lining up those flaps, and I'm going to put a pin in between all those layers, and then I want to take the little strap that we sewed and insert that on either side, and that's going to need a little pin holding it as well. I'm just going to turn that and put it on the other side about the same distance from the edge of the flap. And I don't think that little strap is even on this side. I want that to come in a little bit more. that looks even to me. And that's just gonna let me pick it up, like if I have it in a purse or I can hang it up on something. It just makes it like a little caddy. I can't get over how cute it is, and it isn't even done yet. Alright, so now all I need to do is stitch all of these layers together. So I'm just going to try and follow that seam line, but I think I might put an extra row underneath. And I'm just going to stitch them all together. And I'll have to do the same thing and kind of push down those outer layers. This is a lot of fabric to be sewing through, so I hope this goes well for me. And I'm going to reinforce with a back stitch when I feel the machine coming towards that little tabby handle. Alright, get rid of the long threads. And that's what it looks like in the middle when you fold that back. So you could trim if you really wanted to. I don't think it's going to matter. So I'm going to leave them alone. Eventually they'll just fray a little bit and it'll be a cute little detail. Alright, so fun. So when they were snapped, you could put whatever you wanted in them, of course. And then when they're all snapped, sit there like that, and then you could just move that around with this little hang tab. You could hang it up. It's just fun. It's just a unique piece that's really fun. Thanks for sewing with me. That was so much fun. I am glad you tuned in. Don't forget to let me know if you'd like to see the kits made up, or you just like me to sell the fabric in the bundles, or no way, you don't want me to sell you anything. I appreciate your time, and I will be back next week with another surprise sewing project. Take care. Happy stitching.